Happy Juneteenth. So I am right here, live and direct, at this Brooklyn Central Library in, I don't know what part of Brooklyn it is. But I just, guys, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything because I know what I came here to do, and I forgot that this was going on. That's sad. That's sad. But this is the 1 year anniversary of this holiday, I believe. So, it still has to sit in our system a little bit, and for us to remember this amazing day, which doesn't stop at just emancipation, but things that come after that, such as the re-establishment of Black people in America, including the businesses, their sources of income, the economy, things that are favorable to their well-being, right? That is the whole essence of being free. But unfortunately, the society that we live in, which is sort of like the old Egypt, it's almost like you have to pull their foot to provide anything. Because nobody really understands the psychological and the mental effects of servitude, generations of servitude, right? But if the Most High has to force Egypt to pay and to recompense his people, then he may just have to do that. If not, we are still going to keep going and keep thriving, because that's what we do. We thrive in spite of the odds, right? Just as Black people in general, and most especially as Black Americans. So, yeah, guys, I will be back to showcase. The people are still setting up, the tables, the businesses are still setting up, so I will be back to showcase in detail what is being sold. I know this young lady right here, she had very impressive things, and I got her card, and what she does is she paints bags like with her own artwork, like she literally just does her own thing on handbags and shirts and everything. So yeah, check her out. PP Artwork, PPPartwork.com. So, and now I want to talk about what I wanted to talk about, which is funny. God, oh my gosh, you guys, I need to stop calling him God, but yeah, right? Yeah, it's so intentional. Because when I tell y'all yesterday, when I had that impression, like when he kept giving me these Bible verses about the treatment of Judah, I was like, Lord, and as usual, I forget things, forget that is things that are coming up, right? But it just goes to show you that it's not like I'm making it up, right? Like, I literally forgot that today was Juneteenth, right? So I'm like, Lord, why are you telling me all these things about Judah and about the nations and their treatment of Judah, which is our people, right? And now it all makes sense. Yes, it does. It all makes sense, because that is the message that he wants me to post on this very significant day. So yeah, guys, so I had wanted to actually come to the library to post it today, believe it or not, because I forgot what day it was. So I am probably going to go back home and post it. What a shame. I actually was doing it yesterday, but it was going so slow, you guys. It was literally like 1% every minute. And I'm like, this is too slow. Let me go on about my business and I'll come back. Not realizing that it was supposed to have been done in preparation for today. But that's okay, you know, you live and you learn. And I hate posting on my phone, you guys, because I just feel like everything is so public now, and I just want that little piece of privacy, if you will, or just something of my own that I could say, this is mine, and I don't want to share with the world just yet until I release it. So, yeah. But I just might do that. I just might go ahead and post it today, through my phone, because I would like to do some other things and then come back. So, all right, guys, so here it goes. Hi, guys. So it is morning time, early morning, and I have just been reading the Word and contemplating on some things that the Most High put in my heart since last night. So he put 3 different Bible verses. He wanted me to talk about it. So the first one is in Jeremiah 12, then in chapter 14 and on, and I think up to 17. Yeah, from chapter 14 to 17 is what I want us to focus on, right? And so it says, thus says Yah against all my evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land and pluck out of the house of Judah from among them. Right? So clearly it seems like these neighbors, these people who are not of Judah or of Israel, have infiltrated them, right? And they are described as evil neighbors, right? That touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. So these are active wickedness, right? Who again have infiltrated the people, infiltrated their minds, their families, through different means, right? Now in chapter 15, it says, and it shall come to pass after that I have plucked them out, that I will return and have compassion on them. Now this is the Most High speaking about these same people, these same evil neighbors, right? It says, after I have plucked them out, I will return and have compassion on them, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage and every man to his land. Right? Verse 16, and it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, Yahweh. To swear by my name, Yahweh liveth, as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then shall they be built in the midst of my people. All right, so let me rephrase this. So it's saying that if they would use the same energy that they used to teach the people of Israel and of Judah how to swear by Baal, right? Who is an enemy of the Most High. He's a demon that has been known throughout the centuries, right? As the enemy of the Most High, who many also know as Satan, know him as other gods, right? So he's saying that if you would use that same energy that you have used to bastardize my people, essentially, right? That you have used to infiltrate them and basically taught them to move their hearts away from the Most High, to seek after Baal and to swear by Baal, if you would use that same energy, right? Again, energy. to diligently learn the ways, to learn my ways, right? And of my people, to diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, Yahweh liveth, who liveth, right? Instead of continuing in that wickedness. Then they, right? These enemies who are neighbors, they're called evil neighbors, shall be built in the midst of my people, right? So that means the Most High will bless you right in the midst of his people. Because why? He's not a respecter of persons, right? Oh, thank you, Lord. So he's not a respecter of persons, right? Doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. Those who honor and who fear the Most High, he will regard, right? And then finally in verse 17, it says, but if they will not obey, right? So if they continue in their wicked ways and continue to cause the children of Israel and of Judah to go against the Most High, to swear by Baal, right? Then, says the Most High, I will utterly, right? Pluck up and destroy that nation, says Yahweh, who is the Lord. Again, let me repeat that. But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, says Yahweh, the Lord. All right? So, we know of one nation right now. We're living in that nation. We're wondering the future of that nation, of this nation, right? We're wondering where Babylon is headed. And here is what the Most High is saying, is that if you would come to me, look up to me, fear me, but most importantly, leave my people alone to worship me in peace rather than teaching them to swear by your gods, to bastardize their minds and their hearts away from me, to cause them to sin, to cause them to go against me. Right? If you would just diligently humble yourself, and learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name instead, who is Yahweh that liveth, right? Then will you be established? Will you be built up? Will you prosper in the midst of my people? All right? So I thought it was very interesting that the Most High led me to this verse, because many a time in the Bible it talks about the judgment of the different nations that have come against the people of the Most High. And there's usually no kind of grace given, because at that point, when the Most High comes to that point where he just kind of makes that judgment, it's usually because he has been very patient and has already passed his judgment, right? But in this case, he's given you a clue. He's giving you a chance. He's giving you an inkling of what you can do to actually find grace in his sight, right? Now, fast forward to the next verse or the next chapter that he led me to. This would be Joel. So the last chapter of Joel, which is in Joel 3. So in chapter 3, it's talking about the wickedness and the things that have happened to Judah by the hands of their enemies, right? And so he speaks directly to the nations, again, the nations that have not only put Judah under captivity, but have cast lots for his people, this people of Judah. So I find it interesting that in verse 4 of chapter 3, he mentions the nations of Tyre and Zidon and Palestine as being one of the nations that participated in selling the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem onto the Grecians, just so that they can remove them from their border and be able to have the land and have everything to themselves, right? And when we look back now just to find the fate of Tyre and Zidon, we discover that those nations were destroyed. And also Palestine, even unto this day, is under siege and are being currently subdued, right? Now, I don't know if the same Palestine mentioned is the same one as today, but we can see based on the Palestine of today that they are under siege, right? Again, just wanted to mention that. So it starts to say in chapter 7 that this is what he's going to do for his people. It says, "Behold, I will raise them out of the place that ye have sold them to, and I will return your recompense upon your own head." Now he's speaking to these nations, right? And then he begins to proclaim, to say this to the Gentiles, right? He says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, make up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." So he challenges them. He says, let's do this, because this is going to be the end of you. I want you to challenge me. I want you to try it, because I'm getting ready to destroy you, right? Verse 10, this is chapter 3, by the way, of Joel. So verse 10, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." Right? So gas yourself up. Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Cause your mighty ones to come down. Let the heathen be awakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. You see it? The valley of decision. So that's the day of judgment. He's saying, come, gather, because I'm getting ready to destroy you for the last and final time. And then it makes a prophecy about how the sun and the moon shall be darkened and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And that's when he's going to rain down terror on these nations after they have gathered up against him. It says, Yahweh, verse 16, shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So ye shall know that I am the Lord I am Yahweh your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth out of the house of the Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim. And this is the part that caught my eye. In verse 19 it says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness with the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Again, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahweh dwelleth in Zion. Right? So not only is this a prophecy, it's talking about what is to come towards the end of the world, or the end of days, or whatever you want to call it, right? So he's saying that just like Egypt has been desolate, because let's remember that Egypt was the first captors, were the first enemies, if you will, in the sense of massive slavery, right? Against the children of Israel and Judah. So Egypt was the one that enslaved them thousands of years ago. But now, living in our second Egypt, we can actually see the fate of the first Egypt, right? And that first Egypt being Egypt, as you will. So when we think about Egypt now, we think about a desolate place, right? Do we know any native Egyptians? Let's forget about the Arabs that are there now, because we know that they migrated there. But do we know any native Egyptians that are thriving, if you will? Right? These people have all either been killed off or hidden away or moved. Egypt has become a desert, right? We hear stories about the Nile and how it made everywhere so luscious. None of that is there anymore, right? There's no greenery. Egypt has basically become a desolation in every sense of the word, right? Right from its people down to its very geographic descriptions, right? It's been occupied by others, by foreign people, right? And so now we can see what the Most High has been able to do with the past, right? And now as we are in Edom, which is the present day Egypt, it's also prophesying that this place will also become a desolate wilderness. And why is that? For the violence against the children of Judah. It gives you the exact reason why it's going to be that. The same reason why the first Egypt became desolate. Right? Praise be unto Yah who brought that to my attention. Last but not least. Y'all, Colossians. This is the last chapter that he brought me to, or the last book. And funny enough, that's also in the last chapter. I believe it is. Let's see. So the last chapter of Colossians. And right when I opened up that, the first thing that hit me was chapter 4, verse 1. Right? It says, masters, right? And I'm repeating this for emphasis because I realized that a lot of people used to do that and it used to annoy me, but I realized that it's very important that when you repeat something, there needs to be thought given to that subject, right? So it says, masters, give unto your servants that which is just and equal, knowing that ye also have a master in heaven. This was the only thing that stood out to me throughout this whole thing, because as I read, it goes on to give salutations and to give instructions unto the church of Colossians, right? But the Most High wanted to make clear to me that first verse, because in this society we have come to, when you hear the stories of slave masters, how they used to tell their slaves, obey me in all things, I have a spiritual right over you. You are supposed to, this is your lot in life, so therefore you need to take on your role, right? But it clearly says here, for some reason, the Most High brought me to this verse. It clearly says, masters, give unto your servants that which is just and equal, knowing that ye also have a master in heaven. Right? So this is a verse that obviously a lot of people are not going to share when it comes to racial injustice, It wasn't something that the slave masters shared to their slaves, that's for sure. Right? Because therein, right there, the Most High is giving you an instruction on how to treat the people that are under you. Right? And this goes beyond even slavery. This goes into the different forms of servitude that we go through today. Because a lot of us like to think that we're not slaves, but we're slaves in so many different ways, right? We're a slave to our jobs, we're a slave to our bosses, who essentially become our masters because we have to come in at a certain time or lose your job. So masters of all different facets of life. This message is for you from the Most High. Again, expounding on this whole thing about the enemies of Judah and the enemies of God's people, is that even in your mastering, if you will, even in you putting his people in servitude because of their sins and their disobedience, remember that you have a master over you who is the Most High, right? So while it has been prophesied that they do have to go through this suffering because of their sins, you, as the person who is meting out these sufferings, as has been given you or should I say with the right that the Most High has given you to do so, should also remember that you have a master that is in heaven, who is the Most High, right? So, in all things, in your treatment of people, be just and be equal, right? Treat people fairly. Treat people in a way that is right. Treat people in a way that is fair. Don't say because, this person is of my people, he's white, so let me give him a better sentence. Or because this person is black, then automatically he deserves the worst sentence, or he deserves to be treated a certain way. Because why? The Most High is watching you. And because why? Because he gave you the right to be the one to mete out judgment to his people because of their disobedience. Right? But let's remember what we read from, not Joel, but from the other verse in Jeremiah, right? Let us remember that it talks about if you would diligently learn the ways of the people of the God of Judah, right? Instead of leading them astray, treating them unjustly, treating them unequally, and then also causing them to swear by Baal, right? Or Baal. Why not do things differently for the sake of your own soul and the sake of your nation, right? And so for those of us who are wondering if there's any hope for this country with its history of slavery and servitude, and which goes on unto this day, because slavery comes in different forms, and we find that though there might not be a mass, institutional slavery, if you will, like, something that's like the fields, what it used to be, we do also find that there's different forms of slavery now, right? Going from human trafficking and all forms of sexual slavery to servitude, or to institutionalized people, right, in prisons and jails. Slavery has literally been the lifeline of this country and continues to be so, whether we like to admit it or not. So for those of us who are wondering how America specifically can come back to the Most High, we're wondering how we can be saved as a nation, right? Here is the blueprint. And I find it interesting that this is what the Most High led me to. And of all the 3 chapters, they all had something tying to one another. But that's usually how he works anyways. And so I speak this message because I realize how important it is to him, because he wouldn't have showed it to me if it wasn't. I don't know why it is pivotal at this very time or moment in time, but I do know that it will be a blessing to somebody somewhere. And so for those of us who are seeking to find a way to serve the Most High, or even if we're not wishing that for the nation, but for our own lives, let us endeavor to do these things. And the Most High has shown us that, again, he's not a respecter of persons. So again, it comes back to the fact that excuse me, guys. So it comes down to the fact that when you honor the Most High, he will honor you right back. When you fear him, he will honor you. He will be with you. He'll cover you. He'll answer your prayers, right? Amen? And that is why this nation has been driven to its greatness. Because as much as a lot of us would like to say that, well, this nation wasn't founded at the Most High, it was. Because why did the settlers leave England to come here? They were coming to flee religious persecution because they wanted to worship the Most High with freedom, without any restrictions. They wanted to be able to have a place where they could interpret the Bible and walk in the Most High's ways without any interruption. Hence the reason why it says America was founded in the Most High. Now, of course, after that, then came slavery and came the Freemasonry and all sorts of bastardization of the Most High, or the Bible and the religion of Christianity, right? But ultimately, at the very crux of this American civilization lies a people who feared the Most High, or at least had the intention of, right? This country was built on the Most High, believe it or not. And I believe that the more we stray from that, and the more that we begin to think otherwise, the more this country is going further and further down, and will very soon become like the Egypt of old, right? So I pray that this lesson not only convicts somebody, but is also a blessing to somebody. And now the Most High is calling this country unto repentance. He is calling you unto repentance. Will you remain the same as you are? Will you continue as usual? Will you remain quiet and unresponsive? And that's all for today. And until next time, bye bye now.